And Anna, can you confirm that you could see the screen?
Yes.
Perfect, thank you. So thank you so much for joining us for October's Women's Empowerment Principle Induction webinar. My name is Miwa Park, and I'm the WEPs coordinator at Women's Empowerment Principles, or WEPs Secretariat at UN Women HQ. This webinar has been designed to guide the WEPs signatories who are new or who'd like to refresh your memory on the WEPs and utilizing WEPs.org website. We hope today's session can help you with your WEPs journey. So moving on, this is today's agenda. We'll first hear from Anna Feld, who is our global head of WEPs Global Secretariat at UN Women, to kick us off with some opening remarks. Then I'll be the main speaker today, leading today's session. I'll go over the 7 principles of the WEPs tool, then move on to some of the how-tos to answer 4 of the most frequently asked questions by WEPs signatories. So feel free to write your questions in the Q&A function at the bottom of the screen throughout the webinar. I see that you're raising hand and writing on chats, but unfortunately we cannot get that. So please use the Q&A function. But if you'd like to communicate with other participants, share your thoughts, please you can use the chat function. So your questions will be answered during the Q&A question or to the chat without the webinar. So please note that this webinar is being recorded and later will be uploaded to WEPs.org website to be shared with the broader WEPs signatories. With that, over to Anna to kick us off. Anna, over to you.
Thank you so much, Miwa, and welcome everyone. It's great to see so many of you. Some are new, come from new signatories, and some come from companies that have been signatories for some time. So we welcome both groups to this WEPs Induction webinar. And as Miwa was saying, this webinar is about what's next. But before we go into that, just to give a little bit of context, you probably heard many times that it will take us 300 years to achieve SDG 5. But we only have 7 years until 2030 to make that happen. So how is that going to happen? We also know that when countries fail, private sector struggle, and private sector, organizations are trying to navigate this landscape. So when 280 million women live in extreme poverty, it is, or should be, a concern of all of us. And when every 2 minutes a woman dies in childbirth complications, that should be a concern to all of us. When girls are forced into early marriage because family don't have the income or the security to keep their daughters at home, that should be a concern to all of us. So we need to accelerate progress in the workplace, marketplace, and community. And that is why the WEPs were established 13 years ago. And that is why you've been invited, your company or your organization has been invited to contribute from your perspective. No contribution is small enough. And we have something to do as an organization, but also as individuals on what we can do. So what's next? It's up to you. And we are here to support you the best from our side. So today, I will hand it back over to you, Miwa, to take us through what our current offering is. But we are open to hear from all of you on what else is needed to make you support this agenda, to make sure that women have decent work, that we are supporting women entrepreneurs, but that also men are involved in this journey together with us. So back to you, Miwa. Thank you so much, everyone, and look forward to hearing your feedback and questions in the chat and in the Q&A. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna, for the opening remarks. So let me move on with today's presentation. So the WEPs, it's a short recap. So WEPs is UN Women's primary vehicle for gender equality and women's empowerment in the private sector. WEPs provide a holistic framework for companies to achieve SDG 5 and serve as a concrete action plan or roadmap to advance gender equality in the workplace, marketplace, and community. So today we have around 8,500 CEOs committed to the WEPs on behalf of their companies in more than 155 countries around the world. And as you know, the numbers keep growing. So companies are joining the WEPs to make a public commitment to implement and report on gender equality and women's empowerment on a global platform. So by joining the WEPs community, the companies are able to access resources and tools that could help companies in their gender equality journey. So before telling you on these tools and resources, I wanted to recap on 7 principles of the WEPs really briefly. So the first principle is on governance, strategy, and gender-responsive leadership. So we're not only talking about putting more women in senior leadership position here, while that's also important, but rather by CEOs committing to the WEPs and make gender equality and women's empowerment a top strategic priority, it's possible to make ecosystem more gender responsive. And the second, third, and fourth principle, they focus on the workplace issue, from respecting human rights and removing discriminatory biases, policies, and practices to equal pay for equal value, work of equal value, and providing training on gender equality for all employees. So then the fifth principle focuses on the marketplace. So as you know, the companies can influence their marketplace by investing in women-owned businesses, procuring from gender-responsive companies, creating gender-responsive marketing practices, and more. The sixth principle focuses on community. The companies can also promote gender equality through community initiatives and advocacy activities. So there are many things that companies could do here, as easy as putting gender component in their CSR activities and consulting with women in their local communities on their needs and wants. So the last principle, principle 7, is on measurement and reporting, which are crucial to monitor and track performance and progress. So we've been encouraging companies to report on their progress on WEPs.org website, and you'll be able to learn how to do so in today's webinar. So being a WEPs signatory does not end at the signing stage. We call this the WEPs journey. Once a company has signed up and gets approved to become a signatory, a company is then expected to make continuous efforts into activating, engaging the WEPs commitments into tangible actions, and then to sustain by collecting data and monitoring progress, and finally report on their progress. So the company is need to do this alone. However, UN Women is here to help you with our tools and resources. So UN Women offers tools and resources that can support your company's WEPs journey, and we have thematic guides, case studies, templates, and WEPs Learn modules and more to help you with this process. So these resources that you are seeing on the screen can be found on www.weps.org. As shown on the screen, you need to click on resources and get here. And today I'd like to go over a couple of the tools that could help you with your WEPs journey. So the first one is WEPs Gender Action Plan module. So a lot of you may have recalled that if it's joint form of the WEPs application asks you if you have a gender action plan or not. That is for us to see how many companies are coming already with their gender action plan, but this is not a requirement. And if you do not have one, we have a module to support you. So this gender action plan module is a gender action plan is a roadmap for the process of developing a gender equality and women's empowerment action plan. So in combination with gender gap analysis tool, this module helps the company to embed gender equality into its business model and contains a succinct compilation of goals, indicators, and targets. So we provide a gender plan action module for those who are interested in creating one, but this could be also used to verify to see if your current action plan is not missing anything. And this module is available for general public, and you can access it even if you're not a WEPs signatory. The second one is gender responsive recruitment checklist. So it has been developed to guide companies to practice gender responsive recruitment. So it can be used for recruiting firms, headhunters, but also in-house HR departments to assess if your company's recruitment process is gender responsive. This is only available for web signatory. So when you go on, you have to log in and access this tool. Then gender responsive procurement tool, it helps companies to advance gender equality in their marketplace by providing opportunity to assess if the company's procurement policies and practices are gender responsive. So we have been encouraging our signatories to take it, and even further, encourage their suppliers to take it to create an impact for the whole ecosystem that the company works on. So this is consisted of 31 questions that cover 5 categories: gender equality commitment, procurement policy and strategy, internal procurement, supply chain management, supplier database and reporting, and the last one is supplier engagement and diversification. So it can be used as a standalone tool, and again, like the gender responsive recruitment checklist, it's only available for web signatories upon signing up. And the next one is web's transparency and accountability framework. So this can be a helpful tool for companies to measure, track, and report. Some of them are already reported. Some of the countries are already reporting publicly on our website online, while others are reporting only to UN Women. Both are fine, but we want companies to report more. And this framework provides companies with a holistic set of indicators that are most likely to advance gender equality across corporate value chains aligned with existing corporate gender equality frameworks. There are 5 types of indicators, and they have been designed to provide companies on indicators for workplace, marketplace, and community. And as of today, we have around 75 indicators. As you may be aware, if you're a new signatory, since 2020, new applicants to the WEPs are required to share 3 to 4 baseline indicators, depending on if you're an asset owner or not. So if you probably have filled those out to become a web signatory, you are a recent signatory. So for this, we are collecting data on percentage of women employees, percentage of women at management level, percentage of women on board, executive team, and partners. And if your company is an asset owner, you get an additional question that asks the percentage of women on your investment committee. Then once you become a signatory, we are encouraging you to report on this 8 essential indicator that I'll go over later. Again, this is not mandatory, but you are encouraged to report on your progress. I'll go over these indicators later in today's presentation. So moving on to the next section, I will introduce you some practical information for your WEPs journey based on this top 4 frequently asked questions to the Secretariat. So companies are asking us first, how to create an account to manage your company profile. How do you do if your profile is old, meaning if you had signed up prior to 2020, and how to report on your company's progress, how to use WEPs gender responsive procurement assessment tool. So moving on to the first question, managing your WEPs profile. So there are a range of things that you can do on www.weps.org as a logged in user. And we're working on developing more tools that are available for the WEPs signatories only. And by creating your WEPs account, you can manage your profile without emailing the Secretariat back and forth. Becoming a WEPs signatory does not automatically create login credential or account for you to use it on the weps.org website. You need to first create an account to log into your WEPs account. You can use any of the emails you have provided during the WEPs application process. Those were your CEO email, primary and secondary email. And you cannot use any other email at this stage, but I'll show you how you could add additional emails later on. So I will show you step-by-step guide on how to create a login credential on weps.org. First, you need to go to our website and click on the sign in button at the top right corner, this red button. Once you are there, oops. Once you're there, scroll down a little bit, and then you can click on this red button called Sign Up Now. This will take you to the registration page where you will be able to create your own account. Third, fill out the registration form. Again, you have to use one of the emails you have provided when you applied to become a web signatory. Other email addresses would not work. Once you put in your email address and click on Send Verification Code button, you will then receive a verification code in your email box. And you can use the code to continue with the registration process. I've seen many people's email going to junk box, so I recommend you to check your junk email box as well. Sometimes it's end up there. And then after you're done, you can immediately log in and use your account. To see the page like the one you're seeing on the screen, please click on My Account button here at top right corner on the page. So you can see what you could do here. You could edit your company profile, take GRP assessment tool, and start reporting. More functions will be added in the future. And let me give you a bonus tip. Once you have your initial account up and running, you can click on and edit your company profile page button, and then you can go down, scroll down, and have and add extra email. You can create login account with using extra emails you've added by going through the same process that I just explained. I hope that was clear. Moving on to the second question, we get a lot of questions like this as well. So we get a lot of requests from companies who joined prior to 2020 on accessing their company profile page. Long story short, we had a lot of systematic changes since 2020, and if you had signed up prior to 2020, your profile may not be available online and it just needs to be updated. A lot of people also ask, do we need to renew WEPs membership every year? No, once you sign up, you are a signatory forever as long as WEPs exists. However, you need to regularly update your profile so that you can access and do the function that I will show you and I just showed you. So the easiest way for you to do is fill out the online join form again, and we will honor the original join date. In this case, please indicate that you are re-signing or updating your profile in your application process so that we can help you. So as many of you have seen, we are offering WEPs 101 webinar next week for potential signatories next Thursday. So you can attend that webinar to learn about how to fill out the join form in more details. Moving on, I'll tell you on how to report on WEPs.org website. So before walking you through how to report, I want to explain these 8 indicators that we ask web signatories to report online. So the first one is percentage of women and men employees as a percentage of total number of employees. So here we refer to employees. Employees, they include permanently contracted and temporarily contracted, such as seasonal workers on a full-time equivalent basis. So to calculate the percentage of full-time equivalent employees that are women, count the total number of full-time equivalent women employees, then divide this number by total number of full-time equivalent employees, both men and women. The same calculation can be done for male men employees. Second question or indicator, percentage of women and men in senior management position as a percentage of total number of senior managers in the organization. So senior managers are defined as full-time employees at C-suite level or equivalent, for example, managing directors and partners, just for this transparency and accountability framework and reporting indicators methodology. Oops. To calculate this, you have to do something similar that you've just done with calculating the first one. So you have to calculate the percentage of senior management who are women. The signatory should divide the number of women senior management by total number of senior management. They'll get the number that we want you to report on. The third indicator is percentage of women and men on the company board. So board members, I think it's pretty straightforward. these are defined as members who play an active role on your board. And to calculate percentage of board members who are women, you should divide the number of women on the board by total number of board members. So then this is where we get a lot of questions from signatories on indicator number 4, ratio of women's salary to men's salary. So women's and men's salaries include 3 components. The first one is fixed salary, a salary that a person received on a stable or fixed basis. That is, the employee received the same amount every month or pay period. Second, there is additional salary. So this is the salary that an employee receives on a temporary basis. For example, it could be associated with the performance of a longer period of work or as compensation for the expense that they had to incur. The amount varies from month to month or pay period. And the third category is variable salary, a salary that the employee receives in recognition for their performance or for the overall result of the company or recognition. You can call this bonus pay. So calculate women's salary by adding up all the salaries, these 3 types, and then divide by the number of women. So the same calculation should be performed by men, then divide the average woman's salaries by average men's salaries. So I hope this is clear. 5th indicator, percentage of newly hired full-time equivalent employees, men and women. So new hires are defined as an employee who has not previously been employed by the company or organization, or who was previously employed by the company organization, but has separated from such prior employment for at least 60 consecutive days. To calculate the percentage of newly hired women employees, you could divide the number of newly hired full-time employee women by the total number of full-time equivalent newly hired employees. Next indicator, percentage of promotions and career opportunities, men and women. So this definition is same as indicator 2. To calculate the percentage of promotion and career opportunities for men and women, refer to the definition again on employees and senior management. Then you can divide the ratio of full-time equivalent women in senior management by the ratio of full-time equivalent women employees. Then divide the ratio of full-time equivalent men senior management by the ratio of full-time equivalent men employees. It sounds very, it sounds difficult, but it's pretty straightforward, a simple math, and you'll be able to do so. Let me finish and I'll tell you where you could find this information. So 7th indicator is retention rate of women and men full-time equivalent employees who took paternal leave. Parental leave may include maternity, paternity, parental, and adoption leave. The retention rate is determined by employees retained in the company or organization 12 months after returning from parental leave. To calculate this retention rate for women, divide the total number of women employees retained in the company for 12 months after returning to work following a period of parental leave by the total number of women employees taking parental leave. So the same calculation can be performed for men taking parental leave as well. 8th indicator is rather simple. It's a yes or no question. It's asking if the company has a confidential, anonymous grievance resolution reporting and non-retaliation mechanisms and procedures to address, respond to incidents of violence and harassment in the workplace. So please, you can answer yes or no. It's pretty straightforward. So we are currently in the progress of adding more indicators to report on, especially in the marketplace and community. As you could see, all of these essential indicators fall under workplace. So please stay tuned. And you can learn more about the metrics and methodology on a website called WEPs Guidance Note, How to Report Your Progress. That can be found on our website. So. Then moving on, I'll tell you why you should report then. So I've been telling you that it's important for you to report. You probably heard it from somewhere else, but I'm here to give you 4 benefits of reporting. First one, And most importantly, reporting allows companies to uphold their commitment to gender equality in the workplace, marketplace, and community. So you have made great first step by signing on to the WEPs, but as you probably recall, you are not done on the WEPs journey. So you're on that journey and you are expected to continuously work toward that goal of achieving gender equality and women's empowerment. So reporting can help you to guide you and motivate you to do better. And then second, similarly, setting up targets can provide benchmarks and KPIs for companies to follow on their WEPs journey. So companies may feel lost, but these indicators that I just explained could provide tangible goals to achieve and a direction to pursue. So companies can check up on their progress by collecting data and measuring the progress. In addition, reporting is also good for the company externally as excuse me, the WEPs team is being called more and more from the investors, and they're taking closer look at the company's progress on ESG status, including gender equality and women's empowerment. So investors are now realizing that gender equality is a matter not for only as social part of the ESG, but also governance, as gender equality could bring risks to governance of the company, and it's a tangible threat for return on investment. Show your progress transparently by reporting on your progress to the investors that you're doing a great job. Lastly, other stakeholders, potential employees, your business partner, your consumers, if you're B2C, and more are checking the company's status on gender equality. Again, transparency is key to communicate with other stakeholders, thus please do report. With that said, let me finally move on to tell you how to report. So first, you need to go to our website and click on the sign in button on the top right corner as you've done for logging in. Then hopefully you'll have your account up and running and you'll be able to log in. Then please go to my account. Then click on this red button, start your reporting. Sorry. Then now you can start reporting on company's progress on the indicator that you want to report on. And these indicators are ones that I just went through. As you can see, the indicators do not have a red star thing next to it, meaning that these are mandatory, but you can either report privately or publicly for each indicator. However, this is baseline, but if you're moving on to your essential indicator, you don't see that red stars. It means that these are not mandatory field and you can report on any of the indicator as you want and do it either privately or publicly by choosing the mode in each indicator. This is to show you how it looks like. Percentage of new hire, you can calculate with what I just described, percentage of promotions, percent retention rate, and then you can select yes or no for the violence and harassment indicator. And then lastly, we have a new feature on our website. You can now add a link to your annual WEPs report or gender equality report on your profile. So make sure to select the year you want to report on here in the year button, then add a direct link to the document. We want you to upload your direct PDFs here in the gender report rather than you directing us to your website or other third-party places. Lastly, and most importantly, after you're done, please scroll down and click on the Save button at the bottom of the page. So this page, I prepared to show you how your profile will look like after you have reported publicly. So you will have this data underneath your basic profile information on your profile page. Notice that the length of report can vary depending on how many indicators you chose to report publicly and how the annual report link looks like here. So here we have a new, also sort of new feature. If you had reported more than 2 years, you can compare your company's progress over time also. So here you're seeing to the 2022, 2023 for the same indicator and how the progress have been made. We hope to see more companies reporting at the end of 23, and by doing so, you'll be able to see your latest report progress and your last progress. So many companies also reach out to us asking us when should they report. So it's completely up to you. Also, how many times should we report is another question that we also get a lot. It also depends on you, but we say annually is a good starting point. So I hope this was clear, and I see some people are raising hands, but if you have any questions, please write in the Q&A function on the bottom. We'll be able to get that in Q&A session. Thank you. Moving on to the last question. Let me walk you through how to use the WEPs Gender Responsive Procurement Assessment Tool, one of our newly available interactive tools, and it has been updated as well, so you'll be able to see it as well. So you can access this tool by clicking on the tool button at the resource page, or also the other option is for you to log in and just simply click on this button, Take GRP Assessment Tool. So this is what you will see once you sign on to take the tool. Notice that you can take the tool multiple times. You can also nominate other team members for the surveys. Normally, if you're a first-time taker, it's going to say Start GRP Assessment. But this is our testing company, and we have done the we have taken the tool a couple of times to test the tool out. That's why it says Continue GRP Assessment. But note that if you're a first-time taker, it will say Start instead of Continue, just to avoid confusion. And this is, once you click on Start the Assessment, this is what you will see. After answering each questions, click on Next, or you can start and save and complete later button in the middle and get back to it later. This is how the question will look like. You just need to choose one of the mandatory ones. And then, like reporting, when you're done, click on Submit button. So this is what you will get upon finishing the assessment. You will get a score ranging from 0 to 78, and depending on your score, you will be given a status either beginner, improver, achiever, or leader, similar to the WEPs Gender Gap Analysis tool. So you can see beginners. The companies who get beginner there are no or few GRP initiatives in place. Improver, meaning a few GRP elements are currently being planned or in discussion, so nothing has been adopted. Achiever, commitment is established through the presence of policies and other management systems. GRP is being implemented, but results are not yet demonstrated or systematically reported. The last leader is GRP is fully implemented and embedded in the procurement systems. Demonstrable result can be shown as outcome of the GRP approach. So you can also download your result as a PDF and start analyzing the area that needs improvement. So you can see it's color coded, so it's heat mapped or color coded. So you'll see that if it's straight, no, then you'll get red. If it's great, you'll get green. If it's somewhat needs some improvement, you'll get yellowish color. So I wanted to flag our newest resource and a new case study that had been developed as a result of group of companies going through these steps that I just explained to you. So to test this GRP assessment tool at a global level, the industry-specific level, UN Women had worked with the watch and jewelry industry. This case study examines challenges and lessons learned from the pilot participants' GRP assessment tool result. So this was the first attempt to test out this tool at a very specific industry level. And we are open to doing another industry-specific analysis together with you, or you can do it on your own with your suppliers. So we highly recommend you to read it, as you can learn from this participant's result. even if you're not from this industry, there are still a lot of common area that this case study talks about that you can learn from as well when advancing towards gender responsive procurement. So I've talked a lot, and that was all from my side on WEPs how-tos. Hope you learned some useful tips on how to fully utilize our website, and we have more features planned for the future, so please stay tuned. We're now going to move on to the Q&A session. Anna will lead the session and later close today's session. Over to you, Anna.
Thank you, Miwa. There are so many questions. So maybe I can just pick up a few. What does it mean to be an active signatory? So maybe I can answer this one, and then I would leave for you, Miwa, to talk a little bit about, there's a lot of question, what does it mean that the information is made public? Who actually will see that information? And what is the reporting period? When do they start reporting? And then there were also a lot of questions around recognition. So let me take the first and the last for now, while I go through also the other ones. But if you could cover the more details about the reporting and clarification there. So what does it mean to be an active signatory? To be an active signatory, you need to have a gender action plan, or either as a standalone or as part of any other broader strategy and action plan in the company. It means that you're actively involved in implementing it, and that it comes in a little bit in the reporting, but we have also now a new feature that Miwa was showing, that you can upload your latest either WEPs report. Some companies have their dedicated WEPs report where they report specifically on what they've done to implement the WEPs, or it can be the annual corporate report or the sustainability report, whatever other reports that you are producing that does talk about WEPs. And then that you're also actively involved in our webinars, that you are contributing your success stories, and that comes in a little bit also to the recognition. There has been a lot of questions on awards at this year, 2023. We don't have a global award. We have in a few countries and regions, country and regional awards, and I have shared the email in the Q&A, and maybe we can also put it in the chat, Miwa, but where you can reach out to us to get answer to some of this more specific question for your company, your country, or your region. So please reach out to us. But you can contribute in many different ways in sharing your, we work with some companies in doing case studies of success stories that where you really made a difference for gender equality. We'd like to hear that. We'd like to capture it on the website. We'd like to share it with the community in either our newsletter or on social media. So that is one way. Another way is to participate in our deep dive webinar series where we go into specific topics, where we invite companies to join and also share their particular expertise. And then, as Miwa was talking about the watch and jewelry pilot that we had, this is another way that we gather a group of companies and work together as a community, as an ecosystem, to really make a difference in the entire industry. So there's a lot of ways that you can be an active member of the WEPs community. And of course, you can also be active by engaging your own business partners. We have many WEP signatories that are activating their business partners and say, come and join us on this journey, WEPs journey, whether it's suppliers, whether it is, and sometimes investors ask their investees to join them. So that there's, the more you can kind of help us to make sure that these women are not dying in childbirth, or that these girls are being forced into early marriage, as I was talking about earlier, because the families don't have enough income, they don't have enough opportunity and security. This is the kind of the way, as I was saying in the opening remarks, there's no small enough contribution to this agenda. So I think that for those that are new, we really encourage you also to activate your whole entire company. And that could look different. You could have presentations so everybody knows what the WEPs are. You could have, we actually had one CEO that did a podcast to the broader community. We had some that kind of had a whole week of different focus every day on social media, through workshops, through conferences within the company. Whatever size your company is, you have different capacity to kind of leverage your voice as a company committed to gender equality. You have different access to women communities, one of the pillars, as Miwa was speaking about earlier. And you have access to directly to the women that need our support. So being an active WEPs signatory has many different facets. And happy to get your ideas also on how we can support you in that. So when we will look into a more kind of streamlined way for the awards, we will keep you posted on that, and probably we'll have another session that we go through the different award criteria and give you more information. But that's for now. So I'll go back into the Q&A, Miwa, while you talk a little bit more about the reporting period and what does public mean in practice. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Anna. As you were saying, we got a lot of questions, which is great, and I hope more questions are coming in. So going back to the question of reporting publicly, so when you choose to report publicly, it means that you are sharing with general public. Whoever goes onto website.org website, click on your company profile page, and they go scroll down, and they'll be able to show your see your result that you agree to publicly post. And then reporting period. So there was a question, I'm a new signatory, should we start? Absolutely started, and it's very normal for you to have not so great result in the beginning, but the purpose here is for you to track and make difference, coming. So we actually were approached by a company. They said, oh, we're not reporting because we have nothing to report about. We have 0 women in leadership, we have 0 women in board, 0 everything. But our response was, and they decided to do so, was start noticing that zeros, publicly report, and then someday someone in the senior management in the company will notice, what is all the zeros here, what's going on here, and they'll do something about it. So that's the whole purpose and point by we encouraging you to do so publicly. And by doing so publicly, it can hold companies to account that you're making this public commitment, public progress, so you can do better. So it's that kind of mechanism. And then there is a question on GRP. So the result of the GRP is a little different though. You as a test taker can only see the result. Us at the website manager cannot see that either. So you're the only one who can see it, who can retake it and measure your company's result. And with that said, we had a couple of companies reaching out to us, seeking for advice on how to proceed with their result, and we are happy to provide you feedback. If you have some questions, we are always open, so please reach out to us and we can schedule a call or we can respond to your email and etc. And then there will be suggestions for improvement provided. Again, you can look at our resource like the case study that we just developed or other resources that comes together with the analysis. You will have a little box on the right side of the screen telling you more resources, so you can click there and learn more about the GRP in general. And then another question is GRP assessment tool downloadable for use with external organizations. Unfortunately, it's only available for signatories online. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to get more resources for web signatories only. So you have to be able to log into the system, meaning you have to be approved to become a web signatory and sign on, and then you'll be able to take the test. Hope my question was clear. And I had a question, I think I answered. Okay, and the period of the reporting, as I said, it's you can do it end of the year, you can do it in the beginning of the year, you can do it in the middle of the year. It's really up to you. But to make your lives easier, maybe aligning with your reporting deadlines or around that period, I think it'll be easier for you to follow as well. So it's really up to you. Anna, would you like to go back with other questions?
There's a lot of questions, but I think you might have covered some of them right now. There's a lot on reporting and
Okay.
when should be the first time they report?
Okay, I can answer this one. So they are a new signatory, and do you have a start point where to start recommendation and on how to make an action plan? So maybe I can start with that one, and Anna, you can keep monitoring the Q&A. So thank you for that question. It's an important question that we get, and it really depends on the company's commitment and the capacity. So UN Women, we have around 90 country offices in the world, and some of the country offices are offering programs for you to advance WEP's journey together as a group. But as we are covering 90, which is a great number, but that's not 196 countries that we have in the world. So in that case, you're on your own, but there are certain types of document that we, certain roadmap that we are trying to present to the company so that they can follow. So what I could recommend you as a first step would be knowing where you are, right? So see where your policies are in workplace, marketplace, and community, and see how gender responsive are your practices and policies. And you can do that by taking the WEP's gender gap analysis tool together with the gender action plan module that I just explained during my PPT. So you can go to WEP's Learn website and access this module, and this module will help you to have step-by-step guidance on how to create gender action plan. And I personally took that one as well. I've learned a lot, and major takeaway that I have got was consult with your internal and external stakeholders when you're developing this plan, right? So it shouldn't be just one person deciding everything or one group of people deciding everything. Rather, try to consult with every division and department that you work together with within your company, and even with your supplier and your marketplace, so that you can learn, you can have a holistic gender action plan to move forward with this agenda, because it needs to happen holistically rather than just focusing on the workplace. So that's freely available online, so you can start there. And once you feel comfortable after taking that tool, you'll be able to learn where your improvement needs to come from, which are areas that you need to work on. Is it more on the workplace? When is it more on maybe do I need to work on removing discrimination or etc. from my policies? Do I need to promote equal pay? You'll be able to see. So first, assess, that's the first line, and then try to attend WEP's webinar that we are offering. So apart from WEP's Induction and 101s, we have thematic area that covers different topics that's related to gender equality. So we had one related to legal framework and women's empowerment back in January. We'd had one about women's leadership and gender power gap. We had one with investors, so more are coming next year. So I recommend you to participate in there so you can be able to learn and you can be able to and get some ideas on how to proceed with your WEP's journey. I hope that was a good place to start. And Anna, over to you.
I think
we answered most of the questions.
Yes, I don't see any other ones on a different topic. And if we missed something, I saw somebody was saying that we did not respond fully to our question, so I asked if she could repeat the question. And also to align with the indicators with other frameworks, and the progress indicators that we have has been aligned with other initiatives and requirements. We have, for example, worked with an initiative called 2X Collaborative, where we worked on the specific indicators for investors. We have also worked with other organizations to determine, to make sure that we are not using different types of indicators from different initiatives. So they should be fully aligned at this point. Oh, there's a question on the recommended length of time for paternity leave. I think not knowing what country you're from, but different legislation also offer different periods of time. In my own country, in Sweden, we have it split almost equal between the mother and the father. But there are other countries that give a shorter period of time. But we, from UN Women, encourage, of course, an equal sharing of that responsibility to take care of children, but also other dependents that might need our care, such as those that are sick or elderly. So it's difficult not knowing your direct context, how to answer that, but we stand for equal rights and opportunities when it comes to this.
Thank you, Anna. And also I was checking the chat and a lot of questions seem to be coming from there, but it's hard for us to answer your question when it's coming through the chat. So please share it in the Q&A. We have around 5 minutes before we close. So if you have any question, please share it on Q&A. And I saw a question, how is WEPs different from UN Global Compact's target gender equality? So maybe we can clarify. It's different program. I'd like to say that that's UN Global Compact's program on target gender equality, and the WEPs is the framework that UN Women offers, and we have different programs and resources that we offer to the companies as well. So I hope that makes it clear. Where can you go on the site to update password or add password for additional email addresses? So thank you for that question, and I can answer this one very quickly. So updating a password, you need to first create login credentials. So I think you should start there, and then after you created login credential for that updated email address, you can go in and just regular find my forgot my password button. That should work as long as you have that email account registered as a user on the website. So.
Yeah, I see now a little bit more context on the paternity leave. So we really encourage companies to go beyond the national legislation in cases where the national legislation doesn't provide for either maternity or paternity leave to offer that. There is ILO standard, which is the bare minimum, I believe 12 to 14 weeks for the mother. And I've seen that there's some practice of having 2 weeks for the father. But that said, it's because we are far from reaching gender equality, and that's why we are 300 years away. So if there is an opportunity for you in your business and your organization to push this, we would really, really appreciate, and we would love to hear the story of success afterwards. So that's where we talked about earlier, your case studies, your stories, please send them to us, and we're happy to work with you to finalize them and to put them on our website. I see there's a few questions coming in, but I think time is almost up. So let's see, Miwa, if we can cover this. Which countries are successful in this? We actually have one specific study, and maybe I can dig it up quickly, that focus on parental leave. And in one country that we had studied this was in Poland. So I'll see if I can find it, and I will share it with you, where it comes from the national legislation. Since you're asking which country is successful in this, we have it under public policy. There's a category in resources on public policy, and we have one specific on parental leave. So I think this is, I'll share that in the chat.
Okay, thank you, Anna. So time is up, so why don't we move on to your closing remarks? over to you, Anna.
Yes, I'm just pasting it here. Thank you, everyone. Your questions is important to us, not only because we were able to answer most of them, and sorry if we were unable to answer them all, but it also gives us idea on what is important to you. So I have taken note of that your strong interest in recognition for the work that you're doing, awards and other things is a way to recognize, but also for us to explore other ways to recognize your efforts and showcase those. We have taken note on the need for maybe deeper support on how to prepare a WEPs action plan. So we are taking note of all your suggestion, recommendation, and as mentioned also in the chat, we also encourage you to reach out to us with your suggestions. If you have a group of companies you want to work with us on a particular issue, a particular industry, let us know. And we are happy to also convene this. But for now, we are thanking you for your participation today. As Miwa mentioned, there is a WEPs 101 webinar next week. This one is a little bit more basic on what the women's empowerment principles are all about. So if you have colleagues that you would like to share this invitation with, you'll find it on weps.org/events, where you'll find more information also in general about our upcoming webinars. So I hope you are with us and help us solve this problem, the 300-year problem in 7 years. So thank you very much, everyone, and look forward to staying in touch with you. Thank you so much.